You know, whenever people talk about Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls, the conversation always seems to land on its heroine, Maria. And for a lot of readers, the critique is kind of the same. She seems, well, passive, almost like she's just there for the male hero. But what if that's barely scratching the surface?
That's really the big question, isn't it? Is Maria just a romantic subplot, or is she something way deeper, something absolutely essential to the whole story? Okay, so while a lot of people write her off as a passive character, if you look closer, she's actually playing two huge symbolic roles that are completely key to understanding what this novel is all about.
So to really get her character, we got to peel back these two different layers. First, you've got her biological function, this incredibly deep connection she has to the physical world, to life itself. And then there's her ideological function, what she stands for, for the cause they're all fighting for. Let's start with that first one, her connection to the earth. So this first role connects Maria right to nature. She's not just a person walking around in the landscape. In so many ways, she is the landscape. And she's the one who offers a path to healing, both physically and spiritually, right in the middle of all this chaos.
And Hemingway is just brilliant at weaving this connection in. For instance, Jordan calls her his little rabbit, which right away links her to this vulnerable, fertile life of the forest. And the awful trauma she went through, that's not just some tragic backstory. No, it's a direct parallel to the land of Spain itself, a country that's been cut up, bruised, and violated by war. So her healing, through her relationship with Jordan, becomes a symbol for the land's own chance to be restored.
And this, of course, leads to one of the most famous lines in all of literature. When Jordan and Maria are together, he feels the earth move. Now, this isn't just some over-the-top romantic line. It's meant to suggest that their union is something huge, something planetary, a fundamental biological need that screams life in the face of constant death.
And this is just so crucial. Why? Because Jordan knows he's going to die. He's only got a few days. And in those days, he has to live an entire lifetime. Maria is what makes that possible. She's that biological drive to survive, pulling him into the physical world and healing his spirit right before the end.
Okay, so now let's build on that. Let's see how this raw biological role feeds into her second, even deeper role. Because Maria isn't just a symbol of the physical world. She becomes a symbol for the ideological one, for the very cause they're all fighting for.
And this is where the whole mission kind of gets a new focus. Maria is the Republic. She's the innocent survivor of fascist brutality, the living, breathing proof of what is at stake. Suddenly, Jordan's mission to blow up a bridge isn't just a military task. It's about protecting the future that she represents, a future where people like her can live without being afraid. And it all just explodes in the story's absolutely devastating climax. Jordan's leg is shattered. He knows there's no way he can escape, and he'll just slow everyone else down. So he makes that ultimate sacrifice and forces Maria to leave him behind.
And his final words to her, they just transform this whole moment. This is so much more than a sad, romantic goodbye. It's this profound ideological statement. He's telling her that one person might die, but the spirit of the cause, his spirit, it lives on through the people who survive.
So by saving her, Jordan makes sure his fight, his whole life, wasn't for nothing. She literally carries his legacy, his memory, and his hope away from that battle. In that moment, he achieves a kind of immortality, not in heaven, but in the fight for freedom that continues through her.
Okay, so keeping all of that symbolic weight in mind, let's circle back to that big criticism we started with. Is she really just the submissive character?
And look, it's really important to acknowledge this feminist critique. The argument goes that Maria is just too passive, that she seems to exist only to comfort and build up the male hero, Jordan. And if you look at it from a certain angle, yeah, you can see her as a kind of fantasy figure, a woman without her own real agency. But with everything we've just talked about, all that symbolic weight, you just have to ask, is that really the whole story? Is passivity the only way to read her character? Well, what if we reframe this? What if we stop seeing her as a victim and instead see her as a survivor? I mean, this is a young woman who has been through the absolute collapse of her world. From that perspective, her quietness isn't weakness at all. It's a sign of someone rebuilding their entire soul from the ashes. Her choice to trust again, to love again, that's an act of incredible, immense courage.
And you know what? To really get this idea of strength, we have to talk about the other major female character in the book, Pilar. She gives us this perfect contrast that really completes the picture of what resilience looks like.
This table here really lays out the whole emotional core of their little group.
If Jordan is the hand, the one driven by duty, and Maria is the heart, representing love and the future, then Pilar is without a doubt the soul. She embodies the raw, stubborn power of survival.
Pilar is just everything. She's earthy, she's wise, she's fierce. She's the one who gets the real stakes of the war, way beyond soldiers and maps. She represents that ancient, unbreakable spirit of the Spanish people, the ability to just endure anything and keep on fighting. So when you put Maria and Pilar next to each other, you suddenly see this incredible full picture of what strength really means in this story.
Yeah, they're not opposites, not at all. They're like two sides of the same coin of resilience. Maria shows the kind of strength it takes to heal, to love again, and to carry a legacy forward. Pilar shows the strength it takes to endure, to hold everything together, and to guide people through the darkness.
And that really leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. When a character is carrying so much symbolic weight, how does that change how we read them as an individual? That's the tension at the heart of Maria's character, and it forces us to consider that maybe, sometimes, the greatest strength isn't about being loud and defiant, but about the quiet, determined courage it takes to simply survive.